Okay, guys, today we're looking at the mean, median, mode, and range. Hopefully these terms are familiar to you. You've seen them at least some point in your life. You've used them, in fact. You've used averages. These are all measures of average. However, the mean is the one that we typically call our average. These are all what we call measures of central tendency. And right here, measures of central tendency. What these are really is just a way of organizing and summarizing data in a as neat a way as possible. What I'm going to do, I'm going to define each term for you, something you should have in your notes, and then I'll give an example from a set of data, how to find each one of these in a particular set of data. So our first term is the mean. And in parentheses, I'm going to put what we usually call this, or a word to help you associate what the mean is. And this is the one that we usually call our average. Now, a definition of the mean is probably better given by a quick example, and that is the sum, kind of a weird M there, the sum of all data items divided by total number of items. Okay, and that's pretty much it. We add them all up, and then we divide by the total number of items that we had. Our next term actually is, all right, let me back up one. Our mean, or our average, is the sum of all data items divided by the total number of items. We typically use the average, or the mean, when our set of data are relatively close to one another, or relatively close to one another. In other words, if our classroom, everybody was 5 foot, within a couple of inches of 5 foot 6 inches, and we had one student that was like 7 feet tall, that student who was 7 foot tall is something that we would call an outlier. In other words, his height is way beyond the height of most of the kids in our classroom. If I wanted to represent the height of our classroom, I probably wouldn't want to use the average, because his height is going to pull our average up, and it wouldn't be a good way of summarizing the heights of the rest of the students in the class. Our next term is going to be the median. And the word that helps me associate what the median is middle. Median, middle. And in a particular set of numbers or data items, when I put those numbers in order from least to greatest, this is the middle value. The middle value of that set of numbers when I put them in order from least to greatest. And if I did have an outlier, this is the one I would use. For instance, in my classroom, if I had the one 7 foot tall student and everybody else was 5 something, rather than use the mean, I would go and use the median. Okay. Okay, so we've got mean and median. Now we're going to look at the mode. Oops. Okay, and my word association for mode is going to be the word most. This is the data item in a set of numbers or data that occurs most often. So it's the number that occurs most often. Pretty simply stated, if I put all the numbers in order of a set of data, I can identify which numbers show up more than once, or maybe twice or three times, and then I can count the number of times that they show up, and whichever one or ones or whichever items show up the most, those are my modes. I can have one mode, I could have multiple modes, or I could have no mode at all. If all the numbers show up the same number of times, I wouldn't have a mode, because nothing occurs more than anything else. Last but not least, we have range. And I guess the word I might use for that would be spread. And range is simply the largest number. Let me erase that. It's the largest number minus the smallest. Okay. Again, if I put all the numbers in order, this helps me find the range, because the smallest number is going to be on the left, largest will be on the right. Find the difference of those two, and that'll be my range. And this number helps me to identify how far spread out the data is. It's particularly useful when you're looking at scientific data. In a lab, let's say, you might be able to tell, depending on whether two lab techs were running a series of experiments. One lab tech may not have very good technique, and the other one might have better technique. The lab technician with the better technique may get more consistent results. His data may be closer together. The other technician, his results may be spread out further. However, their averages for all of their data still may be the same. So sometimes the range is just kind of a helpful number to, another way to identify and summarize data. Okay, so here's a quick example. I'm going to wrap this up because I told you guys I try to keep the videos less than 10 minutes, and I'm already looking like I'm about 8 minutes here. So here's a set of data. Looks like a bunch of numbers. Let's say that those are the weight in ounces of some of our textbooks. So the first thing I'm going to do, especially if I know I'm talking about measures of central tendency, so whenever I see a list of numbers like this, I'm probably just going to go ahead and rewrite them in order from least to greatest. And I usually cross off the numbers as I rewrite them. So I'm going to go 9, cross off the 9. I have another 10. Oops, not another 10, but I have 2 10s. Then there's a 12, a 15, and the 16. So pretty straightforward there. Doing nothing more than organizing the same numbers in order from least to greatest. This helps me do the rest of this work and helps make a little bit more sense out of the data, putting it in some kind of order. All right. The mean we defined as the sum, or if I add all these numbers together, the sum of all these numbers divided by the total number of items. So in that case, I'm going to take 9 plus 10 plus 10, you can't see my plus signs very well, plus 12 plus 15 plus 16. It's the sum of all those divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a total of 6 items. So order of operations, I'm going to clean up the top of this fraction in the numerator. If I add all those up, I get, 72. On the bottom, I still have 6. And if I reduce this fraction, 72 divided by 6 is what, 12? So in this case, my mean is 12, or my average. Okay. The next item that we're asked to look at is trying to find the median, or the number that's in the middle. One way to go about this, is, and I've seen people do it, is to kind of cross off both ends. They cross off one here, one here, one here, one here. And then I'm going to have two numbers left in the middle. When I have that, when I have a median where there's no number right in the middle, this happens when I have an even number of data items. If there's an odd number of data items, well, there'll be a number right there in the middle. In this case, the two middle numbers are 10 and 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the average, or the mean, of those two middle numbers. 10 plus 22 divided by 2, since there are only two of them. And I get 22 over 2, or 11. So in this case, my median is 11. Had to take the average of the two middle numbers because there was no one number that fell right in the middle of that set. And then the mode. Which of these numbers occurs most often? I see I have two 10s right here and here. No other number occurs twice or more than twice, so I can say that my mode is 10. So let's do the range now. The range is the largest number minus the smallest. So I get 16 minus 9. That gives me a range of 7. Okay. Hope that helps. And I went a little bit over 12 minutes. Better luck next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye.